Hello there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Dodgy Gamer here with another installment of my guide to international management. Now previously I've looked at the reasons why you should give international management a try. Now I'm aware of course that it is lacking in some respects. It's not quite as fleshed out as the club side of the game. So in today's video I'm just going to talk about six improvements that I would like to see for international management, whether they come in Football Manager 2021 or in future versions, but things that I think would definitely enhance this side of the beautiful game. So first of all, right out of the bag, for anyone who's done international management and Football Manager, you'll know exactly what I'm going to say: training. This is something that just for some reason isn't there at all in the international management arena when it comes to Football Manager. There's no training. You name your squad, you bring your players together 5-6 days before a match, as the managers do in real life, and then you just wait for the match. There's a pre-match press conference maybe, but there's no training, there's no pre-match tactical briefing. These are things that desperately need to be in the game. I mean, if you're seeing a group of 23, maybe 30 players a few times in a season, training must surely be one of the vital parts to build up the team cohesion, to build up the tactical familiarity. That is a key thing. Whenever international breaks take place in the real world of football, you always see it on the sports news, you always see footage of the England players training with Gareth Southgate, or whatever national team it is, you see footage of them training. It's a big part of the international experience, and definitely something we need into the game. And the same goes for the pre-match briefings, a chance to sit down before the game, talk about the tactics, especially as these players are coming from different clubs. They all have different tactical styles, different managers they play under, so a chance for you to communicate your vision for the game. And number two, very much connected to the first one I suspect, fitness levels. I'm sure many of you have experienced this if you've taken a national side to a tournament, the shocking levels of fitness they end up with after a few games. Granted, sometimes at tournaments you might play 3 matches in a week. It comes at the end of a long season. But very quickly you end up in situations where players who played in the previous match have got a condition of 70%, 80% before the next match comes around, and you're left with a bunch of knackered players. Do wonder if this is connected to the fact that, strictly speaking, as far as the game's concerned, they're not doing any training when they're with you. Maybe if we had training in the game, it would be a chance to work on fitness. It would be a chance to make sure all our players are in tip-top condition before those crucial games. Sticking with tournaments, I would like to see more regional tournaments in the game. Now, if you manage over in Asia, this is already there. Asia, obviously such a massive geographical area, and as well as the Asian Cup, you have tournaments like the South Asian Championship. You've got the West Asian Football Federation Championship. You've got the East Asian Football Federation Championship, made famous by FM Lama and the Northern Mariana Islands. You've also got the Southeast Asian Championship. There are others that are not in the game, which should be in there for completeness, like the Central Asian Championship. And then of course we get over to places like Africa, which also has sub-confederation championships for the Southern African states, the COSAFA Cup. You've got the CSAFA Cup, I believe it is, for the East African nations. You've got the WAFU Nations Cup for the West African nations. You've got tournaments between the 5 North African states. It would just help with the completeness of the game. I mean, we've got things like the Nations League for Europe, and we've got the Nations League for North America in the game. Why not have these regional African and Asian and Oceanic tournaments as well, just to add to the flavour and add to the achievements we can gain. On a similar vein, when it comes to friendlies, something I always feel is lacking. If you look at it in the modern game, you often see friendlies taking place, like Argentina taking on Japan, but the match is played in London. Or you might have Nigeria and Jamaica playing each other at Pride Park in Derby. Likewise, you might have former French colonies from Africa or elsewhere in the world playing a match together in France, drawing on their European-based players. Yep, this doesn't seem to happen in Football Manager. You go to arrange a friendly, you can arrange a home friendly or an away friendly. It would help raise some prestige, maybe raise some money for your FA as well if you accept a lucrative invitation to go and play the Brazilians out in Dubai. And I'd also like to see friendly tournaments. Of course, we've got things in the game like the Toulon tournament, and in the past there have been other tournaments such as the Home Nations tournament, the Four Nations, or whatever it was called. Those have been represented in the game. But I would like to see the ability to arrange one-off tournaments, which, you know, we get every so often in the world of international football. Maybe in a season when there's no European Championship, no World Cup, we can bring together a couple of top-class nations and name it up, just like a friendly cup for the clubs. One of the other complexities of the modern international game that I think Football Manager needs to better simulate and better represent is that of players with dual nationality. Sure, they are in the game. You can approach them to represent your country, but the only option you've got is to right-click on their profile and ask them to represent a nation. Quite often with these conversations, you end up hitting your head against a brick wall. In the real world, of course, it's more complex than that. Take a country like Turkey that has a large population living in places like Germany and Austria. The Turkish Football Federation has actually set up recruitment offices in those countries to try and pick out some of the best young players coming through the ranks. At the moment, you can send your coaches out to scout some competitions and pick out players for you that way, but I think it would just be much more realistic if you could send a representative out to a country to seek out players with dual nationality for you. Also, we might see players themselves or even their agents coming to you to ask if you might consider them for selection for your national team. So this is something that is kind of there in the game, but I just think needs to be enhanced just to make it more realistic and give you a better chance of attracting some of those players to represent your nation. And finally, as someone here who likes to go and journey the world, taking over tiny nations and trying to lead them to glory, I'd like to see the opportunity to get involved in some grassroots investment in football. And quite often when a big name foreign coach gets appointed to some obscure minnow nation on the other side of the world to be their manager, this comes together with a promise from the FA that they are going to invest in grassroots football. They want to benefit from the knowledge and experience of that coach to come in and help them with their own coaching setup, help them with their youth programs, and help development of the game across the nation. So much like at club management level, you can interact with the board and ask for facilities improvements. It would be great if you could do this in international management as well. Speak to your local FA, say you want to see more investment in youth training. You want to see more investment in the national stadium. You want to see the establishment of a national youth academy. If you can talk to the FA about these things and get these things included, you stand a much better chance of having a long and successful international career. So there we go, those are my suggestions for improvements to international management in the game. What about yours? Let us know down in the comments below. If you've played international management on Football Manager before, what are the things you would like to see to make it more realistic? And thank you very much for watching. Please do check out all the links below. You'll find a link there to a playlist or other guides to international management. And do hit that like button if you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm Dodgy Gamer, and I'll see you again soon.